Another teardrop rolling down my face. HFR from the floor. Miss Trade, Matt Davio, HFR. Got a G. G, solidifying power, Matt. Miss Trade, you look like you're in the witness protection program, as you kind of got he's coming to us from a undisclosed location today because he's banned on the run. Matt, and you couldn't have got out of this town at a better time, as it is full nasty out right now. Yeah. Blowing, cold, disgusting.
Snowbird.
Well, I mean,
that's why.
I told you. Right, I told you I was on Poshmark searching for an overcoat. Poshmark, if you don't know, is one of the greatest thrift stores online. And
you and Macklemore?
Who's that?
You know, the guy who sang the Thrift Shop song a few years ago.
I don't know that.
Anyway,
I don't know that.
It was a huge #1 hit for about half the year back in 2000, whatever, 8, 9. Macklemore out of Seattle. Thrift Shop.
Seattle.
Look it up.
Overcoat.
It's all about thrift shop.
Yeah,
buddy.
Coming in an hour and a half or so, Merrick Garland, our esteemed AG's major announcement.
What is it going to be?
I immediately thought, Matt, that it was just an out trade. All right, it's not, and it was just Trump sold somebody. I'll sell you 50, asshole, with his MAGA badge. And the other person thought that
mega.
I sold you 50. He's got 50 right. You know, if you ever spend any time on the floor, that is 50. I'm selling you 50, hand away, palm away. And the guy, I'm pretty sure that the person thought that he was selling him 5, like on the chin. 55, by the way. I don't know. We live in a crazy mixed up world for sure. People are bailing on China, right, left, and center.
And we talked about it Friday. Just because it was sitting on a low doesn't mean it's time to buy it, because there's still room to go.
All right, we talked about MAGA. Let's talk about Baba. Bring it up, because you're kind of the consensus that they're 4x the population. And
yeah, well, I mean, again, I'm not a fundamental trader, but if you like the fundamental story and the chart, when they start lining up together, you got to go, all right. So now, you know, the masses, everybody is aware that communist China is still communist. And so bullshit economic numbers finally aren't working. And you're kind of seeing it in our markets too. So I would even argue sometimes our markets are equally communistic the way we run them, and the numbers that get massaged, you know, from the government, and even from the individual business side. So I think you got to look at this. But Baba, which is the Amazon of China, you know, at $187 billion market cap today, hitting basically an all-time low down here at $58, traded down here to 58 this morning, which is pretty much the low that we saw back in 2015, you know, after it came public in 14. So 14, it went from, 115, got cut in half, and then it bottomed there and went all the way up to 318 here into the COVID high. Again, its COVID high was October of 320. So this is down now 80%. So if you want an 80% off sale, deep discount, and you're at prices that we've never seen before, well, you could take a stab and say, well, you know what, I'm going to give it 10 or 20%. So you could say below 50, you could say below 47, whatever your number is. But again, we've never seen prices this low. Put some bottom on it, or buy some calls out, way out there the next couple of years. I think China, just because they have 4 to 5x population alone, and they like to lock down their people, why wouldn't you want to buy Baba whenever?
Where the drone can deliver.
when everything can be delivered to you. So I would just, say that. And then when, FXI, we talked about on Friday, we were talking about Chinese stocks and how this could go lower. And, maybe you'd like to buy it down here, maybe around 20. Imagine that. Here we are again. Got down to about 20.94 today. And again, if you want a composite or an ETF of China, this is probably the safest way to play it today. And again, this has been as low as when it came public in 2004. It's been as low as 16, 17. So maybe you start accumulating down to that low. And then again, if it goes below that, you're wrong. But
well, not only that, I mean, you're buying this almost as if it's a crypto, like you're understanding that it could go to zero.
Well, I mean, of course.
I mean, I know you don't want to do that.
But I'm not saying ride it. I'm not saying ride it to zero. I'm actually suggesting that 10 years from now, like when you're buying hold and your kids, you got a 3-year-old that you need to pay for college, put $1,000 into it. And this could be a 20xer by the time, junior gets there. I mean, just because of, I think the world is changing, and, the shift from West to Eastern is happening, and people, the masses aren't aware of it right now. And just because it's really bad news and Xi is overthrowing his, counterpart, he's just getting rid of the weeds right around the shave. So, that's, I mean, why is it any different than what Garland may announce today? They're subpoenaing Trump. I mean, what's the difference between what's going on in this country and China right now? I mean, it's just different, formats the way we do it, but I don't know. There's also speculation that it could be that it could be spy related. It's another false flag, whatever it is. You got to make news about it on a Monday morning. Nothing was talked about it until this morning when the market opened. Then they brought out the news. 1:30, right in the middle of the day. We've been rallying now back to the highs of the day, but not new highs. In other words, we were higher on Sunday when we opened. So keep that in mind.
Let me share.
Yeah.
Let me share the weekly, because we've rolled the weekly. If you'd allow me to share, because it's pretty clear. This weekly is a pretty clear chart to me in the S&P 500 commodity index. And so the weekly, I told you last week that level 3720 was the momentum level. We closed above it. The next logical level now is the average that we're working the standard deviation modeling off of, which comes in at, let's call it exactly right now, 3914, Matt. Should be a magnet. And if the bulls want to stay bullish, we shouldn't get back below this momentum level, 3697. Write them down. 3914, 3697. That's the ping pong area on the weekly, for sure on the weekly. Just wanted to point it out, update everybody on that standard deviation modeling in the S&P.
Yeah, and again, I've been saying 3950 to 4050. Why do I say that range? Let me show you. Whoops. And there we go. So again, and I'm going to draw a fib from a recent high, 43.24, to the recent low, 3,500. And let's take a look at the fib numbers here. 50% retrace is 39.19, and 61.8 is 40.10. And guess what? This is where I'm talking about 39.50. Right in here, this whole, that to me is a target. And then possibly if we can get above 4,000, we may test that 41.50. But this chart has a lot of holes in it, right? And they need to be filled in. That's all it means. And so here's where you really see it. This is that 39.60 level. That's really the next key level. And it's right around that fib level. So, but it's got to we're going to have to get over 38.20 on a closing before that can happen. We got to 38.14. As I said, we opened up basically at that high on Sunday. And then we traded down all the way down here to 37.60. So, up, down, and now testing that high again. But to me right now, with the Garland news coming out in an hour, so you've already had the rally from the Garland news, even though nobody knows what the Garland news is. That's what the markets do. They always anticipate, right? So
right, And this market anticipates it's going to be good. So it's got to be good.
Yeah,
That's all we have
whether
is
they
good
arrest
news.
Trump or, mega MAGA, they got a new mega MAGA hat. I don't know. Give me a break. I'm tired of it all.
I sold you 50. God damn it. All right, man.
Remember, this is where we stopped before too, in the first part of
Yes.
October. So, and this is we've already had now basically, 8-9% move from 3,500 up to 3,800, and most of this comes overnights again. So it's hard to get too excited about this one, unless you're just buying and holding. You're not doing much here. You're just kind of watching this thing.
The other thing too I saw is that the ETF flows, so everybody's 401k participation, we still have net flows into this market.
Sure.
And I think we need some
cash on the sideline, right?
Yeah. And market, flows into the market though, actually still people buying. And, there's a certain amount of that that's just automatic. They're going to buy no matter what. I mean, they'd actually have to log onto their computer or talk to their fucking, retirement representative to change the fact that they don't want to keep pouring money into the stock market. But that certainly hasn't happened.
Right.
Those phone calls come near the bottom, Matt.
Right. Yeah, and again, there's no fear out there. The volatility index has just been trading around 30. It doesn't really go up or down. It's not even something I use anymore. I haven't for years. It's been over a decade. I think about a decade. I mean, really, probably 08 and 9 even was the last time where I was like, this thing is not as useful as it used to be. So, and again, I think it's just because people don't trade the S&P 100 puts like they used to when that thing was created. So it's a different vehicle today than it was before.
Hey, Matt, speaking of undefeated and defeated, the Yankees completely defeated. Oh my God.
It's great to see.
And Bob Costas just shreds them with "Who's your daddy?" Apparently, the Astros are the Yankees' daddy. Beautifully said. Costas always had a way.
And then the Padres, and the Phillies just would not go down. I mean, every game this weekend in Philadelphia, the Padres, except for the first game Friday, they lost that one 2-1. But the next two, they were, they're up 4-0 Saturday, lost that game. That was a backbreaker. And then even yesterday, the Padres took the lead again in I think the top of the 8th, went up 4-3, and then Bryce Harper comes right back, walk, home run, takes the lead again. I'm like, it's over. So the Padres go home, and now we got unfortunately, the curse of Jim Cramer and the Phillies goes on. And now they got to play the Astros. And on paper, there's no way the Astros should lose that series on paper. None. But that's why they play the game.
We have a recession coming, and we have to fulfill all prophecies.
Correct. And as far as the undefeated go, you can take off, 3 more of those: Syracuse, UCLA, and Ole Miss.
All go down.
All go down. And really, UCLA looked horrible. Made the Ducks look like superstars. Now you got all the local Ducks fans going crazy again.
What are your favorite?
They think they deserve a spot at the Final Four table after getting throttled by Georgia by 50. Good luck with that one, by the way. Good luck.
Hey, listen, the team. We talk ratings all the time, and there is a they need to have some sort of representation from the West Coast, and so if it's not going to be,
and they haven't in a long time. They haven't in a long time, and I don't think this will be the year.
That's why one of them will make the Final Four.
I think you got a better chance of 2 or 3, Big Ten, 2 or 3 SECs, and Clemson should have lost that game with the 3 turnovers. They ended up winning, and they did not. By the way, my picks this weekend were as bad as I get, 4-4 on the college side. And
Matt, we're paying the juice. It's a break-even week. And don't beat yourself up. It was fine.
I'm just saying,
coming out with just owing the juice. Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's not a good weekend for me.
Well, it's not. It's not terrible. 4-4 is better than how it could have been.
Yeah.
All right. So who does Michigan? Michigan's got a little brother this week.
Little bro, a night game this weekend, 4:30 here on the West Coast Saturday. That'll be a good. Michigan's like 21-point faves. I don't care what the point line is. I'm always nervous, and I wouldn't. If I were Harbaugh, and I took a trip out to San Francisco this weekend for the celebration of the loss of their Super Bowl game to his brother in 2012, he was on the field. I would just be careful. Good thing he was wearing Michigan garb, because otherwise people would have been going, "What are you interviewing again? What's going on out there?"
All right, Matt. Let's take a look at the bonds. We talk bonds every day. Why don't you bring up the bonds because
we made another low.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like a broken record, but it's hard. Like you can't, if you think about how pensions and private investment funds that are there to earn you 6 to 10% a year, right? They're typically loaded. Wouldn't you say 60-40 to the bond side?
Yeah, that's been the some sort of ratio anyway has been like you have to have. And Matt, if you bring up the bonds, when we talked about this last week, because when you go long term now, you got a decade of people underwater on the price side.
And we've talked about this for a long time, this 111, 114 level. And like, I can't believe, Bob, how fast we are getting there. We worked all the way through that hole and now are sitting right here, at 117.19 was our low. And you see where the dot is. That was some highs back in 2005, like it took it, like to your point, this is an area where it's probably I think we're getting near probably a pause here. And again, you look at the rates, I just said to you 7.32 on the 30-year this morning. You got
for a mortgage,
15 years, we're 6.66. I don't like that number. But the 10-year again, or the 2-year got up to 466, another little high again here today. Keeps going higher. But let me just look at that here. But it looks like it may have topped for the day, or on looks like Friday that was, excuse me. And we've been a little lower today, actually, even though the Fed meeting is again coming up next week, and everybody expects 0.75 of a percentage add. But this has already been built into these prices. So, but this is again pinching down. The 5 year is getting closer, which means we're slowing down on the rate rise. So that's another reason why I'm watching these bonds. I think there's going to be and even today you saw a move. I'm not saying the bottom's in yet because we haven't taken out 2 days, the 2-day high. Like we haven't even done that yet in a long time. So don't get too excited. Don't get the cart too far ahead of the horse. But if we're able to take out 120, which was the Friday high, but we're at 118.24. We're long and we're still red for the day. So don't get too excited, but we're making new lows. And I just want to point that out that the trend hasn't stopped here. The trend has not stopped. New lows every day forever. I mean, I don't even know how long this has been now. But when you look at the slip and slide chart, I mean, just, look at this from, this is going back to, August 147s all the way back here to 180. It's huge moves. So anyways, nothing's changing there, but watch it. Bottoms aren't made in a moment, but they're made over time. And to me, it's kind of looking like, maybe we're going to put in some type of counter trend rally here, especially as we get close to the election, we get close to the Fed. We have 2 Fed meetings left this year. We have one next week and then one right before Christmas. So
right on. All right, Matt.
Pro side, Tommy Brady and Aaron Rodgers, they're basically wishing they were Morgan Freeman and Tim from, Shawshank, and they meet on the island.
It's over. It's over, Butch. They're Butch and Sundance, and they're going to die a bloody death, unfortunately.
Right.
And we're going to all be here to watch it.
Yeah, but the other thing about the NFL this year, there's a lot of shitty teams. Like there is a lot of
shitty football. Let's just call it what it is.
How about the Lions? They were ready to score to take the lead again on Dallas yesterday in the beginning of the fourth quarter. They were losing like 6-10. They were on like the 3-yard line. I didn't see the game live. I just saw the replay. They fumble, of course, like on the 3-yard line of Dallas, right as they're about to score. Like the quarterback or the running back just gives the ball, throws it to the 1-yard line. The big fat Dallas guy jumps on it on the 1. And then they go on to lose 24-6 after that. And they would have taken the lead. Like that guy should be, I'm sorry, but the coach for the Lions,
he's fiery, but fiery.
That little project, he should be fired now. Don't even wait. Start rebuilding now. Because, 3 years of this, it's horrible. They haven't gotten any better. I mean,
so the
only good news is the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions all suck, but Minnesota's running away with it, and they suck too. They're horrible.
Matt, the Bears at New England tonight, Monday Night Football. And I said the Bears, we have fans all over the country, so this is still going to get okay ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Bears, a redo of the Super Bowl 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I was actually in contention. I don't know if you know this. I don't think I've shared it, but at Manja TV, I got reached out to by a TV reality TV show producer, and they were looking for people to contest in a tailgate contest. And I was in the final running to represent the Chicago Bears as the away team in Foxborough tonight. Obviously, I'm sitting here in Bend, Oregon. I'm not. And they must have just been afraid of me and my tailgate prowess. And they didn't want it to be such you can't have the visiting team come in a tailgate competition and kill those, they're soft there in Boston. They get offended easily. For sure, their team's going to do something with lobster. Please give me something better than lobster at the tailgate.
Lobster,
stop it.
Lobster roll, bra.
Everybody smells like a cheap massage parlor in the stadium if it's lobster everywhere. I'm sorry. Anyway, I didn't get picked. I'm still a little bitter about it. Clearly.
Hey,
clearly.
Again, on my personal sports side, also over the weekend, the Red Wings extend their year they've played 5 games and have not lost and have 8 points and are just sitting off the top of the Atlantic, which is weird to me. I don't like that Detroit's in this Atlantic division now, by the way. I don't like it at all.
Show me they've changed this all up again.
A few years ago again. So yeah, we're playing with the only team that I think we should be playing with here is maybe Toronto. The rest of them are all East Coast. Leave them, they should be in their own division. And we should be with, these Columbus and all these guys. But whatever. And we used to be with Dallas, Colorado, St. Louis, Chicago, Nashville. This was our division. That really is where we should be, the Central Western. So anyways,
I agree.
And Detroit I'm excited because they have not even been in the picture for about a decade in hockey, and make Stevie Y great again, since he's been the GM now for a few years. And he's got the brand new coach this year, who was the defensive guy at Tampa Bay forever, and he's looking good. He's looking real good. So anyways, hockey.
How many Russians? Or do they not allow Russians to play in the NHL?
Yeah, no, they do. There's a lot of Russians out there.
All right. Uranium and hockey players. That's what we can have here in this country from Russia.
Listen, hey, natural gas made another. We got to talk about natural gas, because we haven't, we've talked about how that thing's just been sliding. And it has continued to here. But today, I don't know if today is the change of character that we're finally going to need. But look at that. We traded all the way down to 4.75. I mean, look at the chart, Bob. I mean, this is just nuts that it was 10 back in August 1st. Hang on one second. It was 10:02 here on August 23rd. And we went all the way down to 4.75. I mean, this is astounding of a move.
Hey, Matt, that is a really clear chart now. Both ways. I mean, sell the bottom of the meat of that profile, and if it enters it and spends time and builds volume inside of that profile, I think you gotta obviously you would reverse then and go with that trend back to the point of control. And that's the crazy thing. I mean, look how wide that is.
No, I mean, just from August so in 3 months, we've gone down, cut in half, right? And if you were listening to the fundamental story, it was nothing but buy, because it's going to be a cold winter. It's going to be a cold winter, blah, 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 right? If you listen to the talking heads, that's why you had to turn off the CNBC. I got the CNBC on in the hotel this morning just because I only watch it when I'm in a hotel. Otherwise I don't have it. And I had to mute it after about 10 minutes. I couldn't take it anymore.
Unwatchable. Yeah, when I moved off the floor into the office, We had CNBC on for a while, and then had to turn it off also. And I'll never forget, Matt, I'll never forget one of my learning moments, sitting there with an 8-screen display, and we had the military channel on, and the military general was saying, you know, in a cyber warfare environment, a cyber soldier can only pay attention to 2 screens for 15 minutes. And I hear it in the background as I'm looking at 8 screens and understanding that that's not the way to be. You got no way to interact with the market. You cannot multitask. Nearly impossible. In fact, I've seen things where it is impossible for people to truly multitask. You have one focus as a human being, and you better keep it and understand that you should be focusing, because you only can focus on literally one thing at a time.
It's you know, and again, Monday after a weekend, again, the world didn't come to an end again this weekend. So you know, here we are, another week, and we're what are we, 2 weeks now from the election tomorrow. So I already turned in my election before I left the blue state of Oregon.
No, man. I got my card, and I'm going to vote early and often. That's what I do. Like a Chicagoan through and through. Vote early, vote often. Vote by mail, and then go to the and then vote in person. Do it both, and we highly recommend that. Doing it both ways.
That's the Chicago way.
That is the Chicago way. Vote at least twice. If you can get a third visit, do
it.
Hey, Matt, Warren is asking, is the best way to trade natural gas with spreads? I will tell you this, that especially because there has to be a calendar flow to that calendar spread in natural gas, and for sure you are going to get a benefit from the margin Nazi when you trade spreads, because you're long one, short the other. So you get more bang for your buck on a margin basis. The problem with that, though, is that in my experience, I have gotten in more trouble trading calendar spreads in the hogs because of that margin benefit. The problem is that you can overtrade. You can put too many on, and then that spread can move just as violently as the outright if too many people are leaning the wrong way. And I've seen it time and time again in calendar spreading in the agricultural complex, where if there's too many people leaning the wrong way on a calendar spread because it's a seasonal and it's supposed to do something, good luck getting out the door when everybody is wrong and everybody's bailing, just like outrights. So for sure, there's a margin benefit for trading the calendar spread. And obviously it's not inter-commodity, it's one commodity. So it's natural gas versus natural gas.
To your point, Bob, here's your good luck, right? Makes a new low, then gives you a buy signal like at 4:30 this morning, right? And if you try to fade that, you get short down here at 480. Well, all of a sudden it's up here at 420. That's a 10% move just about. And by the time it got to 526, and look at that. I mean, face ripper. So that's the thing about it's. That's the good and bad thing about natural gas. You better be quick with your decisions. And that, you know
what I will do too for tomorrow's, as I will build a couple of these calendar spreads for Natty, and we will just see how volatile they are.
Sure.
You know what? Since we're talking about calendar spreads, Matt, let me share, because I'm still looking at these two, and they've performed incredibly well. Hold on a second. Where am I? Share screen. And that is the Dees. I want to fly this. I've told people to fly it. Sell Dees, buy Feb, anywhere around $1. It gave you some time to get in there, and that's out to 230. And then buy April, sell June. Same thing. I said it once we took and gained momentum with slope here around 1065 is trading 992. Again, these are calendar spreads. They can be seasonally affected, but be careful in anything that's a calendar spread, because if too many people pile into it and they're wrong, it moves just as fast and furiously as the outright, sometimes more. Sometimes the outright will be 1% or 0.5%, and the spread will have moved 2%. So you got to be careful. But I still tend to love this spread. I think this April-June comes back into the meat of this, where it spent time here around $8, and I think the DSFEB heads back out to $3 or $4. Hog spreading at its best, man. We call this the double butterfly. So your short Ds, long Feb, long April, short June on this fly. You heard it here, HFR from the pigsty.
Hey, also big week for the NASDAQ overall market. We have Amazon Thursday, Google is tomorrow. So just keep this in mind. There's a lot of, Google is after the close tomorrow. Amazon, I believe, is after the close. Who else we have this week? Yeah, Google is tomorrow. JetBlue, and Microsoft is tomorrow also at the close. So you're basically going to finish off most of the S&P this week, and I think I think Apple is next week. Texas Instruments is tomorrow. UPS is tomorrow. Pre-market, Valero pre-market tomorrow. A lot of earnings, a lot of sectors. So maybe we'll get some volatility. Chipotle is tomorrow after the close. A lot of big names coming out this week. So keep that in
Matt,
mind.
you said Amazon, man. Pull up Walmart for a second. They don't release till the 15th of November. But I have seen more and more commercials where Walmart directly competing with the Amazon model, and they got the distribution model already. They got stores in every nook and cranny of this country.
Right.
And if anybody can compete,
well, they have a big online. They have a big online presence. They do a lot of.
Exactly. I mean, the latest ones that I've seen is same day delivery on thousands and thousands of items.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for me, that is the one true competitor here in the States that is going to make life difficult.
Well, here's Amazon. Walmart. I mean, Walmart again, 161 down to 117 on that last earnings or 2 earnings ago, and then they've improved since the last earnings. Really, they haven't gone anywhere. Excuse me. So they've spent a quarter just chopping around like the rest of the market has. I mean, again, that's what you would expect, right? We really haven't done much in the last couple, 6 weeks at least in the markets. Although we've made new lows, and overall we haven't, made new lower lows. So 3,500.
Fractal out for us, so we can see where the Armageddon can take us.
Well, you got to get below that 117 level. Obviously, that was
right on. And then the COVID low is 102.
COVID low is 102, and point of control, going back 4 or 5 years is about 70. So again, still hanging in there, still on this chart, as long as it holds above that 120, above the value zone, bullish, but starts getting back into that, closes in that 120 range, portends poorly for future,
right.
pricing going up at least. So,
all right, perfect.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to look at also, because we haven't talked about Wells Fargo in a while, and because they're really kind of the preeminent bank out there on the retail side, wouldn't you say? More than investment banking, but this is where you get your car loans, your home loans, still your revolving lines of credit on your HELOC, etc. And this has done really well since COVID. I mean, this was really trending ugly into COVID. I mean, it's interesting because we have not talked about this chart, but I was thinking about this over the weekend, and I'm like, oh, let's talk about that today. And we actually dipped post COVID. Well, this is November of 20, down here to about $20, and that tripled up to 60. But again, you start looking at this chart, we're kind of on the bottom side, on the underbelly of this value zone. And this is not a good time probably to be buying Wells Fargo. And that makes sense with the consumer, being impacted by higher interest rates everywhere. And they're not going to loan as much. This is the problem. People don't realize even at higher rates, you're really going to have to be a good consumer. You're going to have your shit in order to get a loan from these guys. Otherwise, they're just not going to be writing and processing a lot of.
The higher rate is going to automatically pretend lower volume.
Well, it's got to, at least until we start staying here for a while, right? Until they kind of figure out the new underwriting things that they need from their bank. But yeah, to me, this is not a good, again, we're trading right here, right about this level, 45. Do I see it going to 60? Probably not. I'd lean, if we get a little bit closer to 50, I might put the short back on, quite honestly.
Okay, beautiful. All right, Matt, that's what we got. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Lee. And I'm not sure who else joined us today.
LC.
Thank you to everyone, though. Soon, Matt, there's going to be thousands of people chiming in, thousands and thousands.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back tomorrow, as Miss Trade will be in the sunny confines.
No, I won't be for a little bit. So.
All right, he's on the road. He's running something. I don't know what. Currently in the undercover program in a dark room somewhere.
Just the lighting, I guess, is not the best. No matter, even if I put
no. Do it that way. It's better. It's better. In fact, we need to scramble your voice to make everything even better.
I am anonymous.
Matt, we watched the Vatican Girl on Netflix, I believe, and I want to talk about it tomorrow because it really highlights that there is a real problem with trust in every legacy institution that I can think of, and which is why that. This Merrick Garland thing, is it going to be anything worthwhile, or is it just another charade in the continual shit show of charades that keep being played worldwide?
I mean, again, the election is coming. They got to do everything they can, and they're pressing everywhere they can right now to try to, why is Jay Leno doing a bid on EVs with Joe Biden this week on CNBC? Oh yeah, there's an election coming. Okay. Like, who cares?
Let me ask you a question.
Both Leno and Biden are washed up. I don't want to see either of them on my team.
Here's my question. And
they're not the future of the world, nor good luck with the EVs getting pushed everywhere.
When I moved to LA in 1985 in the fall, I spent several months there, and I was in Santa Monica and came out of a store and looked and saw snow-capped mountains and almost fell over. I'm like, wait a second, like somebody just put them there, right? Because the smog generally is so bad.
Right.
Me and you are both. I got no problem with being a steward of our environment. Here's my question: let's say every single car and truck and semi is electric in the country. What does the electrical grid need to be at? How many kilowatts, megawatts, or whatever do we need to be able to produce to charge all of these vehicles? And what is the timeline that we could possibly build that type of infrastructure to charge them all? That's an adult conversation.
I saw when I was heading out of Central Oregon yesterday in 97, right before I got to Sun River, there was a hardwired one electric speed limit sign. I was like, why? Like, talk about a waste of money. Like, it was legitimately hardwired down the pole into the ground, and there was nothing else around there. And I'm like, is this the new thing? We're gonna have electric signs because the ones that are just posted aren't good enough. Electric signs are better for the environment than
a painted sign. Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Anyway, that's my question. We're going to have an answer for you sometime this week. The megawatt or kilowatts needed to drive every single electric vehicle if we had no internal combustion vehicles on the roads. Get on it, Warren. All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bob.